Hello, CQ. Hello, CQ. CQ, the old Friends Net. Time for the Sunday edition of the Old Friends Get Together. We meet 3 times a week. Today, right now, 4 p.m. Frequency is 3715, give or take. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. on this same frequency. Old Friends Net's a great place to look for gear, sell gear, or bits and pieces of something you might need to fix, or some knowledge of solving some problem. This net is an amplitude modulation mode only, and while we focus on vintage gear, any radio equipment that can generate AM is welcome to join. This is also carried out in the old-fashioned round table style. We will take check-ins and get everybody in a nice, neat row and carry on from there. So, for those wishing to participate in this last day of 2023 Old Friends Net, please give W4MEC a call and come now.
Happy New Year, Charlie. WA4LLR.
N4LQ.
GDN.
KZ4B.
WB4NKL.
N4IYQ.
KG4IUQ.
WB4ARK.
WF2U.
P1VVC.
Alpha Kilo N4AK.
4KR.
K4JAL.
K4VWC.
Okay, I had 3 doubles there that I could not copy. Here's a list that I have so far. I'll pick up the 3 doublers there and stick them on the end. This is the order. So please make note of who precedes you and who follows you. And here we go with Dave, WA4LLR, Steve, N4LQ, George, K4GDN, John, KZ4B, Cliff, WB4NKL, Mark, KG4, N4IYQ, And then mark KG4 IUQ, Buddy WB4ARK, I had a station double with him, Mir WF2U, John K1VVC, Glenn N4AK, Stan W4KR, Jimmy K4JAL, and Lee K4VWD. I had a station double with him too. So who did I miss? Come now.
WA4FJQ.
Okay, we got Tom WA4FJQ and Dave K4YRK. Any more? Okay, we're going to stick you two at the end there. And one more time down the list, LLR, LQ, GDN, 4B, NKL, IYQ, IUQ, ARK, 2U, VVC, AK, KR, JAL, VWD, FJQ, and YRK. So, good list there on a nice, beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's 50 degrees here in Henderson County. Clear skies, a beautiful day outside. Nice way to end the year here. So, let's get started with Dave. WA4LLR and the group. Take it away, W4MEC.
All right, Charlie, fine business. W4MEC and the old friends, WA4LLR. Happy New Year to everybody. I pray it's a peaceful one. And, well, anyway, it'll be an interesting one, I can guarantee you. Same weather up here, Charlie. That's unusual. We're 50 degrees, sunny, and a little bit of a breeze. So running the ART-13 today and receiving on the HQ-180. So, Steve, down to you, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. ART-13 sounds great, Dave. Charlie, you're sounding good too. Everybody is really strong except for Dave over there in Tennessee. Running the AF-67 Elmac here and about 275 watts carrier through the amplifier. And I've been playing around with some various things here in the shack, working on the Elmac. I did permanently reduce the power by installing a B+ resistor that feeds the screen and the plate of the 6146 final, 1.5K 10 watt. Reduce the power down to about 12 watts, and that's about what I need to drive the amplifier comfortably. Also did some experimentation with the zener on the cathode of the modulator, and I proved to myself that using a capacitor, a bypass capacitor across the zener does absolutely nothing. I was skeptical at first, talked to some folks with different opinions on it, put the scope on the cathode, and there's no audio to be found either with or without a capacitor, no matter how hard you try. That zener diode just passes it straight to ground, so it's just like having a battery or a B+ supply, or a B- supply, I should say, maybe a C supply. Sent out an email with KPH schedule on Saturday. You can actually listen to them send their call and a few things, which is fun to listen to. So you got a list of frequencies there to check on, and learned about the variations in the Elmac meters. Not only are there a difference in appearance, but if you look at the right-hand side of an Elmac meter, on some of them, you can see right through the right side into the VFO compartment where the light is supposed to ooze through there and help illuminate the meter. I've got Well, Cliff sent me a new meter out of a good-looking AF-67 that does not have that lens, and the old one did. So I'm wondering which ones do and which ones don't. So if you just look through the meter and try to look to the right, and if you can see light coming through, then you've got one of the, I assume, one of the newer models. Anyway, something fun to contemplate. George, how's it going out there on the Myrtle Beach? K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the groups, K4GDN. Well, Myrtle Beach is sunny and clear, and I guess it's in the 60s out there now, low 60s. I'm running the multi-Elmac through the attenuator into the homebrew 811 linear. I guess I'm putting out, about 110 watts carrier, only running about 130 mils on the 811s, and they're cool as cucumbers. Speaking of 811s, 811As, I'm in the market for 4. My 30L1 had damaged 811As in it. 3 out of the 4 I could see blisters on the plates. One of them I could see all the way through the plate once I took them out. So I was wondering why the power was a little low, so I did some more investigating. So I intend to be at the lunch on Thursday, and like I say, if anybody that's got 4 811As they'd like to part with, I'm definitely in the market one way or the other for some 811As. And I would prefer to get American-made ones rather than having to buy the Chinese ones. I'm going to make this my basically only transmission. I got some things I got to do, but I'm going to listen to the very end of the round till it comes back to me again. But I'll probably be going there unless somebody's got some comments there, Charlie. So let's see. I'll pass it on to John. KZ4B, K4GDN.
Okay, K4GDN in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, George. You are barely Q5 today. Usually you come in a little better than that last few weeks. So, whoops, the band must be short in relative to some previous times. Dave, Steve, N4LQ. Do I understand you correctly to say that with the AF-67 or 68, if you are using a Zener, that you do not, I repeat, do not need an electrolytic bypass capacitor? I believe that's what you said, but just so I don't do something wrong, please reconfirm that. You say it's like a battery, and of course, I guess a battery with a low internal resistance to audio. So I appreciate reaffirming that just for this old simple mind. I am on the usual T150, driving the Meritron AL-1500, which in turn is driving an AT5K tuner, which in turn is driving the double extended ZEP through ladder line. So that's the setup here, and I'm not sure exactly what my carrier power is. I'm looking at several meters and they have different opinions, so I won't hazard a guess. On over to Cliff, WB4NKL on the group, KZ4B over.
KZ4B, it's WB4NKL. Okay, John. We got that T150 sounding great. Sounds, I guess the last time I heard it, you was still in the working on it stage, and it didn't sound too good, but you might pass on what all you did to get it all straightened out, because it sounds great now. And George, you're about the best I've heard you in the Tennessee here, so I don't know, John was talking about you was down there, but you're booming into Tennessee. So I guess the band may be a little long, but everybody's sounding good. I had no trouble copying anybody. And about 51 degrees here, and I did get out and get a 3-mile walk in it. It was a little breezy, but it's pretty pleasant all in all. So I'll send it on around. Go ahead, neighbor. N4IYQ, it's WB4NKL.
Okay, WB4NKL, N4IYQ, and good afternoon to all the old friends. Hope everybody's having a good day. Same weather here, 51 degrees, and pretty sunny out here. We're just about 4 air miles up the road from Cliff, and we're on the multi-Elmac AF-68, driving the SB221 with a carrier about 240 watts, something like that, into the double bazooka antenna cut for 80, using the HF auto tuner to kind of go down the band a little bit. It's cut for 3885. Hope everybody's had good holidays, and glad to get it over. Hope everybody has a prosperous new year coming up, and look forward to seeing you all at another luncheon. Won't make this one, but we'll make one here before too long. KG4IUQ, N4IYQ. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you very much. This is KG4IUQ, Mark in Shelby, North Carolina. I've had a good Christmas here. I'm on the multi-Elmac AF-68A with the PMR8 receiver. I'm using a half-wave dipole. It's up about 20 to 30 feet approximately. It varies. It's down low. Seems to help me to reach most of the people and hear most everybody on this net. I'm running about 100 watts carrier and using an amplifier AL8. What is this? This is the 811H, AL811H amplifier. And I have been working with a Bandmaster Senior by the Harvey Wells Electronics Company, and done a lot of work with it and experimentation, and it seems to be working okay. I've put a carbon microphone on it and finally been able to get modulation out of it. I don't know why the connections on the mic seem to be different than what's in my manual, but I'm able to get the mic to working when I wire it one particular way. And it's kind of fun to use. I'm going to try to test it sometime pretty soon, but I haven't successfully seemed to be gotten a VFO to work with it, and I only have a crystal that I'm using right now. I'll try that pretty soon. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to WB4ARK in the group. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ, WB4ARK. Alright, the weather here this morning at 7:30 was 28 degrees. Pretty good frost out there this morning. And perfectly clear morning. It's still clear. Very few clouds now. And running the ART13 R390A horizontal dipole, and so that's got that. I finished the receiver I was working on that my wife's daughter's son brought me from Tennessee, well, from Asheville. It goes to Tennessee, Sewanee, Tennessee, where he goes to school. And I didn't really find a whole lot wrong with it. Had some problems with
couple of the band switches had poor contact, so I got that straightened out. And it had pretty good reception. FM was pretty fair, and with just the antenna on the set, I was able to pick up a station that plays just beach music. It's down in South Carolina, and they came in with a fairly good signal here with just that antenna in the set. So I thought that that was pretty good. So let's see what else. Well, I guess that's about it for right now. And it's good to hear you, Dave, with the ART-13. Good to hear another set that I had something to do with, especially that one. That one was pretty much a total rebuild from the ground up. It had been taken apart pretty well. It had several things missing on it, so we got that straightened out. Over to WF2U, WB4ARK.
You're very good, buddy. WF4ARK. And the net, this is WF2U. Very good, buddy, and nice signal. And I should join with my ART-13. It's not wired up. The cables are all in a roll. Since I moved the stuff to another set of shelves and haven't hooked it up, but I should use a nice cloudy day or rainy day when I don't have much to do outside, and work on that, put on the air again. Anyway, everybody is booming in here. The weakest signal is about S9 plus 5 dB, and so far the most are like you, buddy, with 20 over 9, and Mark was 15 over 9, and Charlie is 20 over 9, and several others in the up front were also 20 or 15 over 9. So I'm not even going to go with individual reports because nobody's anywhere below S9. And I decided to do something different this morning or this afternoon, and I'm using my ICOM marine transceiver right now. I thought I'll put the AF-67 and PMR7, but then I decided, let's get this a little bit of a workout. So it's my recently acquired ICOM ICM600 model marine transceiver that I opened up the frequency coverage so it covers the ham bands also, besides the international marine bands. So it's now working everywhere. And the carrier is, it's putting out 45 watts carrier on upper sideband. It's another one of those that is a single sideband with full carrier. That's the AM. And so the peak, I don't have a peak reading meter hooked up right now, but just from a regular power meter here, which is the SWR meter, looks like I have a swing from 45 to about 60 watts, but that might not be the peak. That's just what the meter is reading. And the antenna is my end-fed half wave for 80 meters, about 45 feet. The temperature, we're having a really nice day. It started out chilly at 30 degrees. Presently it's 45 degrees and pleasant out in the sun. So anyway, this transceiver on single sideband and CW is rated 150 watts out. So that's why as a solid state radio, it's putting out 45 watts carrier, unlike most of the ham transceivers. This thing is built like a tank. Anyway, so with that, it goes to John, K1VVC, and this is WF3U.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mia. WF2U, K1VVC. And nice to hear a big crowd on here today. Wish everybody a Happy New Year. I probably won't be awake when the clock turns over, but hopefully tomorrow morning it'll be January 1st. So that's great. Everybody's coming through great today. Very, very little background noise, almost like S1. So I'm using the Johnson Viking 500 and receiving on the HRO 60. And the weather's about the same as it is everywhere, I guess. So coming through real well. Glenn, I hope you're having a good weekend. N4AK, K1VVC.
K1VVC in the group. November 4 Alpha Kilo. So temperature over in Sunset this afternoon, 53 degrees and sunny, very nice. I'm running a True Boat anchor this afternoon. I'm running my DX100 D104 microphone, HQ180A receiver, and a end-fed half-wave antenna. So I hope it's getting out all right. And there's a original antique operator is operating the antique equipment. So we're pretty antique here today. I just wonder if anybody's heard about the digital format called VARAC. V-A-R-A-C. Capital V-A-R, capital A-C. It's some signals found on 3595, 7105, and 14105. So, anyway, W4KR, N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, N4AK and the old friends, W4KR. Last things first, Glenn, when you started describing that VARAC thing and mentioned the frequencies, your audio started acting up a little bit. It almost sounds like a cable connection. It's a little bit dicey. Copying everybody, John, George, rather, GDN. Sorry, George. Yeah, George, I remember. That's an inside joke, guys. No, it's not. I called George one day on the phone, and it was early in the morning, and I wasn't awake, and I hadn't had any coffee yet, and I said, "Can I talk to Joe, please?" And this dude says, "Ain't no Joe here, so goodbye." So we ended the conversation, and I thought about it, and I said, "Wait a minute, I dialed the right number, and what did I do?" So I called back and said, "Can I talk to John this time? Or can I talk to George this time?" And we got the conversation going. But anyway, temperature here is about the same as everybody else. Weather's the same. It's been a beautiful day. It's about 33 this morning, and it's up, I don't know, 52, 53 in there right now. Ranger NZ303, and that's it for power. That's it for power this afternoon. With that, up to you, Jimmy. K4JAL, W4KR.
W4KR, K4JAL. Well, I'm on the 32V2 with an antique D104 mic and a Cobra antenna, and I'm listening on the 75A4. Everybody's got great signals. I'm about wild though. Today I've wound 17 core inductors for my new radio project, and I got the heebie-jeebies. Over to you, Lee. K4VWD, K4JAL.
Okay, Jimmy, thank you. K4JAL. This is K4VWD. Well, it's 52 degrees here also, and the sun's shining. I don't want anybody to forget we got a lunch this Thursday at the Golden Corral in Spartanburg. That's this Thursday. So with that, I'm going to keep it going. Down to you, Tom. WA4FJQ, K4VWD.
K4VWD, WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Lee. Yeah, copying everybody pretty well. Some people pretty strong, others a little bit on the weaker side, but can copy everyone here. We got a lot of noise in this particular location. God knows where it's coming from, but it's always down here on 80 meters. Glenn asked about VARAC. I've been on that for about 3 weeks or so, learning the ins and outs of it. I do a fair amount of digital, not much on the way of sideband or AM voice or anything like that, but if you are interested in getting on it, it's a lot of fun, and I'm available to answer any questions that I can answer. You just look me up on QRZ and send me an email. The rig here is the AF-68 feeding a 30L1 through an attenuator and up to an in-fed half wave and receiving on the Collins 75S3C. The Elmac is putting out about 6.5 watts into the linear, and we're probably getting out somewhere around 250 watts peak, but otherwise doing okay. At least we got it backed off and not trying to burn it up. Weather here is like everybody else, clear blue skies, lower 50s, very nice day. So let me turn it over to Dave, K4YRK. This is WA4FJQ.
Hopefully it doesn't look like it's affecting the transmit. I've got a copy of everyone. 53 degrees in East Tennessee also, with mostly clear skies. It was cold this morning about 35, and let's see, I guess Friday morning it was cold. So we had a nice Christmas last week, and looking forward to Happy New Year tomorrow. The New Year's Eve tonight. Let's go back to Mexico.
Very good, Dave. K4YRK and the old friends, W4MEC. If we have any late check-ins that would like to join us, come now. Nothing heard. W4MEC and the old friends. A real good round, fellas. Everything was tracking along nicely there. About the only comment I have is about the meter on the Elmac. I had that meter that you're describing. Steve, I also had one that you could not see through the side of, but this might be a key to its age, because the Babcock MT5, most of them, the early models, had the same Elmac meter with the cleared opening, clear plastic on the side, and next to it was a light that protruded through the cabinet. It was in a fixture. kind of like an aviation style fixture that would shine, you know, it wouldn't shine in your face, it wouldn't shine at you, it would redirect the light to illuminate something on a control panel. And anyway, that was right next to the lamp, and to the meter, and that's what illuminated the meter on the MT5. The MT5 was a 1952 vintage transmitter, so there's a good possibility that 52, the Elmac meter with the clear side is original meter. It's kind of Art Deco. It has that kind of grill work at the top and the bottom of it too. But MT5, Babcock used that same meter for a while, and then they changed to a less pretty meter. So I don't know what heater. This is a kind of a product warning, kind of like Consumer Reports on the Old Friends Net. But my son and his family took off to go to Charlotte just overnight on Friday, and I was tasked with taking care of the doggy. And they left about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I went over there, maybe 4:30 or something, right in that area. And I was supposed to go over at 7 o'clock to feed the dog, take him out, walk him, do all that kind of stuff. I walked in the house, and I smelled this weird smell, and I'm going, what in the world? And I walked around the house, and I could tell where it was the strongest, but, you know, his house is under construction, and it's full of all kinds of stuff, and I thought, well, maybe a darn aerosol can sprung a leak or something, but I couldn't find it. But I called him up and asked him, and he said, no, nothing like that. Well, they came back on yesterday late, about 6:30, and my granddaughter came walking out of her room saying, you know, Mommy, there's water on my floor. So my son went in there and found out that he has several of the same type of electric oil-filled radiator heaters, and they're supposed to have a over-temperature thermostat and to keep it from basically bursting. Well, apparently the over-temperature thermostat did not work because it developed a leak. It sprayed oil all over the walls between the two windows. It sprayed it on the floor. It sprayed it across a 12-foot room and hit a post on a bunk bed. So anyway, it was not a happy camper, but it did clean up nicely, and the only thing they had to throw away was the rug. So if you have any of these, I'm not sure what brand it is. I'm going to take a guess and say it's a Harbor Freight model. But you might want to keep an eye on those things, and apparently the over-temp thermostat does not necessarily work all the time. So anyway, I'm glad that it didn't catch fire or anything, but anyway. All right, so let's go back around again with Dave, WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
All right, Charlie. W4MEC in the group, WA4LLR. Well, I'm certainly thankful that there weren't any following fires after that thermostat failed to do its thing. Thank God for that. Everybody sounds good. I mean, just great signals. Talk about armchair copy today. Everybody's rig's doing a super job. Let's see. Our space weather's kind of calm at the moment. Sunspot count's 48. Solar flux index is 143, and the K is 1. We've got a nice big sunspot that's just now coming around the eastern limb of the sun. It might give us a little bit of fun and activity. We'll just have to see what it does. A few items from this day in history. On this day in 1857, Ottawa was made the capital of Canada. On this day in 2019, the World Health Organization first learned of viral pneumonia cases in Wuhan, and we all know how that ended up. On this day in 2004, Taipei 101, which was then the tallest building in the world, 1,667 feet, opened in Taiwan. On this day in 1999, the United States handed over the Panama Canal to Panama. On this day in 1999, Boris Yeltsin resigned and Vladimir Putin became the acting president of Russia. On this day in 1991, the Soviet Union formally ceased to exist. And on this day in 1879, Thomas Edison demonstrated the incandescent lamp, which has served us pretty well until these days when they're basically ruled out and hard to find. So that's pretty much the story on that end. And I think I'm going to bow out on this one. We got some stuff going on this evening. So 73, God bless and Happy New Year to everybody. And Charlie, thanks for calling the net. So Lord willing, we'll see y'all next year. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
All right. 73 is to you, Dave, and to, let's see. I think George has left us, but maybe listening. This is N4LQ. Edison lived in Louisville, Kentucky for a while, and they had a huge exposition in Louisville in 1883. It covered blocks and blocks. It was a kind of a exposition for agricultural equipment and new gadgets, and people came from all over the world to see this thing, sort of like a World's Fair. But it was the first thing like that, I guess, to be lit by light bulbs, electric light. And they installed 4,600 light bulbs to show off Edison's invention. Something worth looking at. Let's see. And I'm wondering who had the first transmitter with a light in the meter, and why was there such a reluctance to put light bulbs in transmitter meters, especially with Elmac? I mean, the power was right there, and trying to get it to shine in from somewhere else, it was already pretty dim. And in a car in the dark with no light on your meter, you would have had a hard time. So there's a mod out there. If you look up mods on AF-67, somebody came up with a way to install another light bulb in the VFO window there, just to the right of the meter, and the idea was that it would shine, and you put a shield behind it so it would shine to the left into the meter. Well, that only works if the meter has a clear lens on the right-hand side, which mine used to, but now it doesn't. So it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because there's not enough light coming in there to do any good. So I thought, well, I wonder, maybe you could drill a hole in the meter and stick one of those little itty-bitty LEDs or something in there and make that work. And that's real interesting, Charlie, about the Babcock. Yeah, I remember seeing that thing, and they had that lens on the right-hand side, and okay on the oil-filled heater. Never crossed my mind that would happen. I never liked them because they just take too long to warm up, and I really didn't. I think by heating up the air and blowing it with a fan is probably, to me, it seems a little more logical. Of course, they are quiet, but definitely don't want one of those things now. Let's see. To answer your question, John, KZ4B, the answer is no bypass capacitor, because I proved it. There's some controversy on the internet about it. The audio files, sometimes they'll draw the schematic and they'll put a capacitor on there, and they don't know why. It just seemed logical, and it kind of did to bypass it. Some people claim that Zeners are noisy and they would really upset the audio files, but I cannot detect any noise from the Zener. And I put the scope on it, and no matter how hard I tried, I could not pick up any audio on the cathode. So yeah, it's just like having a battery. And your T150 does sound excellent. It has very, very good audio. I'm surprised. It's every bit as good as, or better than I thought it would sound. So, and it's just beautiful to hear all the boat anchors on here, all the Elmacs. Hope to hear that Harvey Wells pretty soon, Mark. And no, I don't know what VARAC or whatever it is, VA. I can't even. I didn't even get to copy the thing down quick enough. VMRAC or something. Not familiar with it. And Jimmy, good luck on your cores. Hope they're all going in the right direction. So that's about it. Oh, I have one request. I need a 4D32. The Viking one has got one that appears to be a little bit weak. I only get about 80 to 85 watts out of it. A friend of mine sent me another one that's almost dead. That didn't work at all. So other than they've got some out there you can buy that are supposed to be new old stock, and maybe that's what I need to do if I want the full 116 watts out of it. It's not a big deal. It works okay. But if somebody's got a 4D32 laying around, it's kind of a weird tube with I think there's like 8 pins, and one of them is fat. The rest of them are skinny. So it's a strange looking tube. So go ahead, KZ4B, N4LQ.
KZ4B, George signed out, and I had forgotten. Thank you very much, Steve, for clearing that point. That makes my life a whole lot easier because I've got a bunch of Zeners, and the capacitor takes up room and the Zener doesn't. So that's just wonderful news. Thanks for the compliment on the T150. To answer Cliff's question, Cliff, the first thing, I got the VFO on frequency. That always helps. And the second thing was I quit using I've got a bunch of D104 mics that I've collected through the years. And I was using a D104, and I think I was getting noise from the switch. I thought that I had deoxed it, but apparently not. And so I went to a JT30 that I'm speaking to you on now, which is just the cheapest crystal mic they had back in the old days. This is what I had when I was a beginning general, and I have a manual TR switch in my hand. So there's you don't have that complicated, looks like a telephone type relay contacts, just a gaggle of them, and a D104 to contend with. So I didn't solve the problem, I went around it. And I would like, for convenience, to go back to a D104, so I need to clean one up and get it back in the circuit. And that was part of it. And also, I was getting a lot of feedback from my receiver. I'm running the Palstar PR30 solid state receiver and the SE3 synchronous detector, which I still can't use right now because it doesn't have a TR circuit. And I believe Steve has one. So Steve, my next question is, do you have a separate switch, say, to break the speaker circuit for your SE3? Or does you just not, does killing your PR30 kill it enough that it doesn't, for whatever reason, get in the SE3? I'm going to have to do something to where the transceive works properly. But my receiver is to my right and a yard away, and my transmitter is to my left, about 6 feet over and almost 6 feet up. So the TR line is about 20 feet long and it's unshielded. So I had to cheat and put a clamp-on ferrite choke on the line, which has tamed the receiver enough that I don't get feedback with it as long as the SE3 is turned down or off. And but like I say, I like to activate that so that I can fight selective fading, which AM has, theoretically, if not in reality. And so that's what's going on here. And so I will pass it on over to Cliff, I think. How's that for an overkill answer to your question, Cliff? WB4NKL and the group KZ4B, over.
Okay, John, KZ4B, it's WB4NKL. Good deal. I know it sounded terrible the first time I heard it. It sounds great now, so you made a bunch of improvement. I've got one on the shelf over here that I'd like to get on the air sometime, so I was sort of curious if you'd run into any problems. This one, it looks like somebody put it together, and it looks brand new, and I don't know if they ever had it on the air or not. It just looks all original. So maybe never did work. But I'll get to mess around with it sometime and see what it does. I've got the matching receiver to go with it too. So I'll have an all-night kit station, that was my first transmitter, was a Knight T60 back in the novice days. I've still got one of those. I might try it on AM also. I've been working on the Gates BC 250 GY, and I've got it making some RF on the original 940 frequency that was on. So it looks like it might actually come to life here. I'm gonna play around with it on the 940 in the dummy load and experiment with some audio before I get into trying to move it up to 160. But eventually get there. Steve probably won't I didn't make the 160 last night. Had some company, and tonight I've got to leave out here in a little bit and take a cousin up to the airport. She's flying to Florida, so probably miss it again tonight. But maybe tomorrow night. I'm gonna make this my last one. Like I say, I've got to eat a bite and go pick her up and head towards Tri-City Airport. So 73, and enjoyed it. Thanks for calling it, Charlie. And go ahead, Chuck, N4IYQ, WB4NKL.
Okay, neighbor, WB4NKL and the group N4IYQ. And copying everybody real well this afternoon. No problems with anybody, which is always a good thing. And I've got a few things to get accomplished around here, so I'm going to make this my last one. We did make a little road trip with Cliff and Mark Thursday. Went down and visited Virgil in Sweetwater, Tennessee, W4OLJ, and got to see Joe Johnson in for FPF from Cleveland. So it was a good day trip, some good camaraderie, and had a good lunch at a little place called Sweetwater Crossings, I believe it was. For those that ever been down to the Virgil's ham fest out on the farm, a lot of people used to eat at the dinner bell, and it's gone, and the workers opened up their own restaurant in Sweetwater, so it's a good trip. Hope everybody has a great new year coming in. Be careful if you party too much. I don't think anybody will, but certainly be safe. Stay healthy, and we look forward to a prosperous new year for all of us. KG4IUQ, Mark to pick it up and take it. Good day, N4IYQ.
Thank you very much, Chuck. This is KG4IUQ, Mark. Practically everybody sounding real good. I have heard about one light signal, but You know, that always happens. Everybody's sounding real good. Sometimes I think this AM is the best, but you know how it goes. It's kind of hard to say what's the best. Everything is good in some way. Charlie, W4MEC, your signal's always good. Might as well not even mention it. It's always good. And you were talking about a Harbor Freight heater. I had a heater one time, it just disintegrated. It was in a guitar teaching studio that I had. I walked in, the heater was all busted. It was everywhere. Dave, LLR, you're saying there's a big sunspot, the result of it coming up here. You mentioned an incandescent lamp. I wonder if we can still use a incandescent lamp for a dummy load. I wonder if that will work with an LED. I haven't tried it. Steve, LQ, you talk about a bypass capacitor is not needed. I don't really know what you're talking about. Maybe I'll get you to show me that. I'd hate to hear all this that you're talking about as much as you know and then not learn what you're talking about, but I'm going to try to ask you about that sometime. George, GDN, you sounding good. John, KZ4B, you're sounding good. Cliff, NKL, you've signed out, but your signal was good. Chuck, IYQ, you've signed out. You were sounding good. And Buddy, ARK, you have a very good sound. And WF2U Mayer with your ICM600 built like a tank. You're sounding good here. And VVC John with the Johnson Viking 500. You have a good sound. Glenn, N4AK, the antique operator with the antique gear. Good sound here. Stan, W4KR, you're sounding good. Jimmy, JAL or JKL, I'm sorry, I don't know what the call sign is there. But you are sounding good. And Lee, you're mentioning a luncheon coming up. I've only been to one. I'll come to another and sometime when I have a chance. And I really enjoy this net stuff. FJQ Tom with the AF-68, you're sounding good. And Dave, YRK. You were a bit light. I don't really know why. Okay, I'm going to turn it over now to Buddy, WB4ARK in the group. This is KG4IUQ.
KG4IUQ, WB4ARK. Okay, Mark. Well, I did break out an OS8CU scope. I guess everybody's seen one of those. Small scope, military type. I didn't have a trace on it. I could see a green dot up here and then move off to vertically. And so I started tracing the circuit out and checked the tubes. And there was one tube I thought I had checked, but I didn't. And it was 6J6, and it was very difficult to get the tube shield off. And I worked with it. There's a couple of wires in the way, and it was really tight. But I did finally get it loose and come to find out that the tube wasn't plugged into the socket. So I plugged the tube in and I got my trace back. So I worked with it for a little bit, had one potentiometer that was a little bit noisy, got that cleaned up, and it's working fine right now. So I'm going to say 73 at this point, and go QRT. And John, I think your transmitter sounds great. I think you've done a very good job on getting that thing squared away. And we will hope we will be back on the new year, 2024, next year, on Tuesday. So with that, we'll say 73, and thanks, Charlie, for doing the net. And over to Mir, WF2U, WB4ARK.
Roger, very good. WB4ARK and the net. This is WF2U. Great copy, buddy. Your signal is holding up. Mark was getting a little bit lighter towards the end. I think conditions are changing a little bit, but you held up at 20 overnight, and everybody else is doing well. Anyway, Happy New Year to everybody, and good health, and enjoy as much as we can whatever we're doing, and hopefully going to be a somewhat better year. And I don't know about the luncheon yet. On Thursday, I'll try to make it, but I'm not sure. Anyway, John, that T150 sounds good, and the signal is pretty strong here. What else did I want to say? I guess that's about it. We exhausted I want to go and get to the end of the net. Without further ado, it goes to John. So again, Happy New Year to everybody. This is K1VVC and the group. This is WFCU 73.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mir. WF2U and the group K1VVC. Well, it's been fun this afternoon as always. Hope to see a lot of you on Thursday in Lee. I'll be by to pick you up the usual time. Don't be concerned. Haven't missed one yet. So look forward to seeing you there, and hope to see everybody else. If anybody else is looking for anything I can help you with, let me know. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Glenn. N4AK K1VVC.
Alpha Kilo, and I hope I don't have a click problem this time. I was on the wrong antenna. I was on an antenna that wasn't even loaded up. So the old DX100 got anxious toward the end and was probably arcing. I can't believe it got out. But you remember early days, we ran these things without antenna tuners. And Tom, I acknowledge that you've been on that VAR AC digital mode, so I'm going to do some research on it. So let's see. Happy New Year to everybody. And I found out that the end-fed antenna that I'm loaded up on right now, I hope it's you can receive me okay, but it is not a good receive antenna as compared to my Cobra or my G5RV, which I was switching between. And conditions weren't terribly loud here for me today. But I'll say 7-3, but I'll listen to the end. And Charlie, thanks for doing the net. W4MEC and 4AK.
Okay, N4AK, let's see, it should go to W4KR.
Yeah, thanks to Charlie. W4MEC and the old friends group W4KR. Glenn, good afternoon to you. Good for you. Oops, sorry about that. Hang on to the mic, Stan. That's right. This is the G stand. You gotta grab on too tight. Someday I gotta get in and fix that thing. So it makes it a little easier. Let's see. A couple of items. Charlie, Charlie, you triggered this first thought when you mentioned the heaters. I have one of those things. It didn't come from Harbor Freight. I think it came from Lowe's originally, but they are efficient if you let them warm up for an hour and a half. They're pretty good. You get a lot of BTUs for the cost, but they are very slow in warming up. I used to do a early morning net control stint, and I was doing it starting at about 4:45 in the morning, and I had the thing on a timer where it would come on at 3 o'clock to warm it up down here, and that's about what it took. Anyway, that's interesting thing about what happened at your son's house. Ouch. Good thing that's all it was. Joan and I just yesterday afternoon finished watching The Crown, the current series. That's the last one, and I would say, I don't know if anybody's been watching it, but it's one of the 6 seasons they did. That's one of the best, especially the last five chapters of it, if you will. The last 5 programs were excellent, and it ended with Queen Elizabeth's 50th Jubilee, so it was about 15 years before she died. Let's see, what else do I know today? Copied everybody pretty well. There is some, thankfully all the signals are S9 Plus, but there's some sort of an S7 noise level popping going on here this afternoon. Don't know what it is. I've heard it before when it gets this cold, so it might be a transformer that doesn't like the weather. Anyway, with that, good afternoon, everybody. 7-3, and Joan and I extend our wishes and prayers that everyone has a good, healthy, happy 2024 rather, excuse me, including the United States of America. K4JAL, W4KR, 7-3, guys.
Hey, Jimmy, you still there? K4JAL. It's not. Lee, K4 VWD, pick it up.
I don't hear Jimmy. If I got it, Charlie, this is K4 VWD.
Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
All right. Well, thank you, John, for coming by on Thursday. I'm looking forward to the lunch and seeing everybody. Hope everybody has a prosperous new year. And thank you, Charlie, for doing the net. And I will hang around, but I'm going to send it on to Tom, WA4FJQ. This is K4VWD.
K4VWD, this is WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Lee. The band has dropped out, at least here in High Point. A lot of noise, my noise level's S9, and I couldn't copy the last 2 or 3 stations. I just know folks are there, but I really couldn't make out much of what they're saying. I guess, Charlie, you're lucky that that leaking heater didn't cause a fire. Steve, this AF-68, not a 67, but a 68, it's got a solid meter with a light behind it, makes it easy to read. So that's about all I've got to say. If anybody that can still copy me is interested in VARHC, a digital mode, email me or phone me, whatever. I can save you some time and trouble, since it's a big learning curve on that particular mode and software. At any rate, thanks, Charlie, for calling the net. We'll say 73s, and wish everybody a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next Sunday. WA, let's see, turn it over to Dave, K4YRK. This is WA4FJQ.
still with us? K4YRK in the group, W4MEC. I guess not. This W4MEC and the old friends. A couple final comments. I just sent the notification for the lunch out, and I got a kickback on K4AWB. I don't know if anybody knows what's going on with him. I did not hear anything about him lately, so let's see. I might have a 4D32. I got to check. We're going to comment about John's comment about JT30 being cheap, inexpensive rather. I've got a JT30, and the mic I am using now is a Crown. I think Lafayette sold them for about $9, $10 in the 60s. And both of them are the bullet head style of microphone. Well, it is a favorite of harmonica players. And this little $10 Crown mic normally sells for about $160 on eBay. And the JT30 is high priced too, because harmonica players, I guess it fits in their hand along with their harmonica. So anyway, they do have a price on them. So it might have been inexpensive when it was new, but it's a lot more expensive now. Let's see, other notes. Nope. I was going to comment about the light bulb thing, but Dave left. So thanks for everybody that checked in. We got the lunch this week coming up Thursday at the Golden Corral in Spartanburg, and sent out the message. So I hope to see all of many of you there as can get there. So thanks again for participating on this last day of 2023. Happy New Year, and we will see you on Tuesday.